All right. Welcome in. It is time for Total Bases. It is a new week. I had a pretty good week last week. My only complaint was the 5% that blew up in my face on Friday, but it was a good week, and hopefully we can get it going again this week. Even though we lost the parlay on Saturday, the parlay's back in the plus, and by the end of the show, we'll get you another parlay. Bryan Leonard, what a great time to be a Las Vegas resident. You got the Stanley Cup Finals. I actually watched some of that last game. That was insane.
What a game.
And you got professional baseball all week in Las Vegas. So an exciting time to be out there. So Bryan, why don't you kick us off? If you have any words about that, this is a great spot for it. And then we're going to talk about your Cleveland Guardians at home. I was going to say headed to the Bronx, but they're not. The Yankees will make the trip out to Progressive Field, and that'll be our feature game.
Yeah, I'll be down at Las Vegas ballpark all week long. I've got, it says first row, but I think they screw you. They got like ABC for the first 3 rows, and then they call the next one 1. I learned that decision before as I thought I was sitting in the front row, but section 118, if anybody's around, I should be there all week. Unless you bought my 5% on Saturday, then I may not be there. Don't go looking for me because we lost it. I lost that game. I think it was 6-1. But we bounced back with a nice 4% yesterday. The same team, the Texas Rangers, and won that game 10-0. So, yeah, one bad day over the last week, but it was a bad one. And I own up to it like we all do. But, yeah, I'm going to be down there, and it should be a lot of fun. And hopefully, since there's a limited amount of games today, we'll be able to talk about pretty much all of them. Yeah, Cleveland is in a pretty good spot, if you ask me here, because, as I mentioned, I used Texas against them yesterday. Now they're coming back home with Williams. Williams against Warren. Warren's pushed back a little bit because of the rain delay. He decided to use Schlittler, and so Warren's not on his normal routine here, so that may be another advantage on Cleveland. But Williams against Warren. We've got Cleveland at home about anywhere from a 110 to a 118 favorite, basically about a 113, 14, something to that effect, with a total of 8. And, yeah, this Yankees team without Judge for a long time now is not the same intimidating team as they were before. They've got a couple guys supposed to be coming back, but Stanton was supposed to be coming back, and now who knows when he's going to be back. But the young outfielder that is a good hitter that does not field very well, he'll be back up pretty soon. So, well, hopefully his defense has been better because he's a really good hitter. He's an exciting player, steals bases, and that's something we always look for, is a guy that is able to, it's like a 5-tool player, and that's what we'll get out of Jason Dominguez once he gets back. But he should be back any day now. He should be coming back. The Yankees, for the most part, Ben Rice has really taken over this team this year. He's been great. He's, according to roster resources, he's been the number 3 hitter, third best hitter in baseball this year. But he's slumping the last week. And that hurts them in this situation because they need to get some offense. Cleveland's more of a pitcher-friendly park, slightly pitcher-friendly, and they're going against one of the best pitchers in baseball this season. As we talked about, Williams was a guy who was a chronic walker. He's figured that out, and he's doing really well. And right now, Cleveland's bullpen is set up very well for this series. Being a former Clevelander, I know how much beating the Yankees means, even though they're not a divisional rival. George Steinbrenner was originally from Cleveland, if you don't know the past. He wanted to buy the Indians back in the day, and he didn't have enough prestige, and they sold it to somebody else. And just imagine if you're a Cleveland fan right now and you had George Steinbrenner's backing over those years. So, yeah, it's a bad thing for Cleveland. And plus, it always seems all of our good players end up playing for the Yankees. CC Sabathia, Cliff Lee, that kind of thing. So, yeah, it's always big when the Yankees come to town, and I think it means a lot more to Cleveland than it does to the Yankees. And the Yankees were able to get that victory last night. Wasn't pretty, but they got the win, and they're a little bit more satisfied than Cleveland is here off that embarrassing 10-0 loss. As much as I like Warren, and I do, I think he's really turned it around this year, and he's a guy I'm looking to play on. I'm just a little bit concerned about him when he goes on the road. He's pitched much better at home than he has on the road. And let me just check real quick. Warren last pitched 8 days ago, and that throws him off his normal 5-6 game day routine. So that is a little bit of a concern. Emerson Hancock hasn't pitched in 7 days either. So those two are a little bit off of their normal routine. But I like the Guardians here, and I'm going to open up the show with my part of the parlay. And that's going to be the Guardians here against the Yankees. And like I said, you can get them in the 113 range out there pretty much everywhere.
Tokyo Brandon, Will Warren was the Saturday starter that got rained out. So he's pushed back a couple of days. You always talk about kind of throwing a wrench into the routine. So a little bit of weather threw a wrench into his routine. I want to go to Clyde in the chat here because he has a question specifically for you. So let's get TB in here. Clyde says, Guardians to win the series. Tokyo, do you ever do series bets? And then obviously we want to hear your opinion on Guardians Yankees.
I have never done a series bet in my life. I'm not against them. I just don't know how to do them. So, I mean, I know how to do them, but I don't know if I would win them or not. So I just avoid them. So let's take a look here. Yeah, like Brian said, Williams was a chronic walker on my chronic walker list last year. On my Twitter X, I've already put up the walk rates for pitchers in today's starters walk rates. See if I can speak English today. And Williams is averaging 1.9 walks per start. So he's got it down a lot further than he has. That's not per 9, that's per start. So he's got it down really well. I never liked backing him, but this season he's looking really good. By the way, I have a 5% play today. Someone in the chat said Adam does too, and we have not conferred on what our plays are yet. So we'll have to maybe text each other during the show and make sure they're not the same thing. But anyways, back to this. The Guardians are not a team that I've liked to back in the past, but Gavin Williams, man, he's got the best command and control I've seen of any starting pitcher this season. 19% walk rate compared to his strikeouts. That's unbelievable. Generally, average is like 30 to 40% walks per strikeout, and his is 19. That's unreal. So he's really seeing the strike zone. Cleveland has huge advantage in the bullpen. I've got their bullpen in current form ranked 6, where I got the Yankees 19. I got Will Warren, Gavin Williams pretty much ranked similar. Maybe Gavin Williams a couple spots higher, but nothing significant. The only thing is the Yankees are hitting better than the Guardians right now. So I don't know. This looks like a first 5 inning under to me. Both pitchers pitching really well. And we got one lineup that's slacking a little bit. We got Judge out of the lineup. Will Warren's walk rate's pretty good too. He's right in the meat of the 30-40 zone. So yeah, if anything, I think the first 5 will probably be under here. Depends on how hot it is in Cleveland, but that'd probably be how I would go.
Yeah, the Gavin Williams thing is interesting because he got hurt like sort of right as he was like starting to like kind of figure it out in the big leagues. You know, you mentioned his command was an issue. And, you know, the guy gets called up, has success right away, and then gets hurt. And then kind of has this season where he's coming back from injury. It takes him a while. I think he had Brian, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he spent like maybe a month down at Columbus. Then they tried to get him back in to the rotation. And it's like, he maybe can't, it's tough when you come back from a long injury. Now he's trying to figure out how to command his pitches at the big league level. And it's, so that you reference the fact that he used to walk a lot of hitters. And that in my opinion is why he had such a hard time sort of staying in the zone, because what was happening to him was he was in the zone and he was getting killed those first couple, when he got called back up to the big league. So it's like, you pick your poison, right? Do you want to walk some guys and nibble, or do you want to just throw the ball over the plate and get crushed? That's kind of where he was at. But that was like, you're talking 2 years ago. I believe that was 2024. Last year, a 3.06 ERA, numbers were very strong. I think Gavin Williams is really good. I almost think he's still undervalued because of that 2024 season. Gets a lot of swing and miss. So far, chase rate, strikeout rate, whiff rate, all top 10% Major League Baseball pitchers. Bro, I can't understand why he gets barreled up so much. Like, I don't understand why he gets, like, he'll have all this swing and miss, and then he gives up just, like, a couple of very hard hit balls here and there. Brian's nodding. Why is that? I haven't figured that out yet. Doesn't make sense.
I think he's one of these guys that had everything he needed except for the control, but he lacked confidence because, as you said, there's nothing's going to throw you off as a pitcher more than giving up a home run and walking somebody. Those are the two frustrating things. You can't really control the home runs unless you just throw the ball right down the middle of the plate. But you control the walks, and that was his thing. Was he would get frustrated from his walks, and then he said, "Well, I'm not going to walk this guy," and then he put it down the middle. Now he's he believes in himself, and just the confidence on the mound. A lot of times, now we have the 20-second pitch count, but in the olden days of a couple years ago, we could tell how long a pitcher would take to throw the ball home based on, you could tell his confidence. And a lot of times they're putting off the inevitable, they don't want to have to throw that key pitch. But I do want to get back to the question about the series price. Everything we do, we want the most information possible. So that's the only thing that hurts you with the series price, because if you use that first game and your team gives up 15 runs, the starter gets hurt in the second inning or something, that bullpen is screwed for the entire series. You don't know that right now. If after the first game, you will know that, and then you can make your adjustments. So basically what the lines maker does is he knows who's going to pitch for the most part in the series. So he makes the lines in those games. And then from there, they basically just transfer it over the average of it over to the series. So that's how they make those. So you're really playing, at least in my mind, playing at a disadvantage in that regard, because the last thing you want to do is play a team who's got a shaky bullpen and all of a sudden their starter gets hurt in the first couple of innings of a game. Maybe it's like a Cincinnati type of thing today. So you don't want that Cincinnati bullpen having to come in and then all of a sudden, the whole weekend's shot now. So that's why I don't play.
And just to round that out, I've never played series prices. It's just not my style. Too much can change from game to game. Bullpen usage, like you're saying, Brian. That to me is just not a way you're going to make money betting baseball. I do think you can make money betting baseball listening to the three of us, and I think you listen to Brian here. The only way I would play this is the Guardians. I think Gavin Williams is still a little bit undervalued. I think he's kind of to me at this point, Gavin Williams is an ace. And I don't know that he always gets credit for being like a frontline ace, but the hard hit stuff is gonna decline a little bit. His sweeper is now his primary pitch. He throws it more than any other pitch. And I think, like you're saying, Brian, for a while he was getting frustrated and he just groove a fastball and he throws 95, 96, but big league hitters, if they're going to sit a four-seamer 95, 96 and it's out over the heart of the plate, that thing's getting hit. Don't care who you are. So I like, and Aaron Judge is still out. We've talked about the Judge numbers going back to the weekend. I don't know that the market is fully caught up yet, but it's definitely, you could tell the market has moved a little bit since the weekend. Those prices in the Red Sox series were big. They're now back. I think this is what I would make the number, but give me Gavin Williams here as well. I see people in the chat. Yeah, TB and I lost our 5%ers on Friday. Mine was a brutal beat. It is what it listen, I'm up 45 units in the last 30 days. TB's on a great run. Sometimes the big ones don't work out. I really don't know what to tell. It's just, this is why Dave Koken hated the fives. Dave never wanted to do the 5%ers. It's really, for me, it's one more unit than a 4%. I'm literally putting one more unit on it than the 4% play. So they're just not meant to go out of control. I know we hit them with the marketing and stuff like that, but just be smart.
This is sports betting. I lost my 5% also. I hate it. I hate losing it. But the next day I had a 4%, slightly less, 110-0. I mean, I'm 18-9. I've got a 4% going today. But we've all been on a really good run, guys. I have no problem with people talking bad about us when we're losing. but we each had one bad day. It's going to happen. If you've gambled long enough, you're going to have losing months. You may even have a losing season. There was when analytics got into it, the first really big year on analytics, a lot of guys I respect lost because they were behind. Dave Koken luckily was one of the analytics guys, but a lot of guys were behind in that regard. So I don't want to take any more of the show, but yeah, we're all having pretty good baseball seasons, and right now we're hot. So.
All right, let's go to a different game. Mike S in the chat says, someone please talk me off of betting the O's at home today. Very close to placing that bet. Seattle Penn was overworked yesterday. Bassett has been great at home. O's bats have been great. Well, Tokyo Brandon, I'll let you start this one off. For me, it's a pretty quick. I'm off the O's very quickly because I like Emerson Hancock, and he's on the mound for the Mariners. He's not a guy I really want to bet against, so I guess that would be my first step in talking you off the O's, but I do see some redeeming qualities with Baltimore, and the point about the bullpens is a valid one. So, TB, you got Emerson Hancock, you got Chris Bassett, Camden Yards tonight, the first game on the board. How are you seeing this one?
Bassett has been good. I've never heard those words spoken before until now. My goodness. Bassett's been horrible, in my opinion. He's got a 5+ ERA, and he has been awful. I've got him ranked, in his defense, on a curve of 30, I got him ranked 18. So I guess he hasn't been horrible. I'll give him a little bit of credit, but you're right. He's been better at home, but he's not a guy I want to back at all, ever. Bullpen-wise, Seattle has a huge advantage here, but you're right. Their bullpen has been worked a little bit. Hancock is a guy who has been pitching well, but my numbers, including expected numbers, have him only ranked 14, which is very mediocre. Against these Mariners batters, Bassett has been okay. His numbers are pretty average. Nothing jumps off the page. And Hancock against the Orioles, it's a very tiny sample size of only 12 at bats, so I'm not going to use it. But it is a 167 average against, but it doesn't count because it's too small. Seattle screwed me on my 5% play. This is a team that if they fall behind, they're just cooked. They don't have the ability to come back from behind. If they take a lead, they're very capable of protecting it, but you just have to hope they don't fall behind. I'm going to stay away from it, but I definitely would not bet the Orioles here. I'll save you some money.
TB, I did Slack message you, so take a look at that when you get a chance. Okay. But I'm with you. I don't want to go against the Mariners. It goes back to what I've been saying the last couple of weeks. I'm still very pro Mariners. You go back to one of our first shows of the year. I love to bring up, when things happen that I was right about. I will also talk about things that happened that I was not right about. I had Seattle power rated number 1 in the American League. Coming out of the gate, I thought this was going to be the best team in the American League this year. I've been wrong about that to this point, but I do think they're starting to turn the corner. And so right now, just as a rule of thumb, I'm really just not fading this Mariners team. Why is that? It's not that I think that you can't maybe find. And now this is where I'll set you up, Brian, with a question, because this is a little bit of a conundrum for me. I like the Mariners, and I think they continue to trend at least closer to what I expected them to be going into the season. But the day-to-day prices on the Mariners are quite inflated, right? They're almost always in. The only series that they weren't inflated was that A's series to start last week. As soon as you got to Detroit, now all of a sudden, in a lot of cases, you were being asked to lay an inflated price. I think you could make the case that maybe you're being asked to lay an inflated price here. So talk to me about that. Are you finding some of the same things when trying to bet this Mariners team or fade this Mariners team?
Yeah, Baltimore's starting to play a lot better ball right now. They still have some concerns. They really don't have a closer. Rico Garcia is their closer right now, and he's been pretty good. But he's unproven, and he's a young guy. Once they get, their other closer back, Helsley will have another look at it, and it'll really strengthen that bullpen. And from what I understand, he's out down in the minors right now, getting himself ready. He should be back any day now. So Garcia's been really good. And some of their other guys, their actual numbers in the bullpen have looked really good. But if you look at their advanced numbers or their numbers other than what their actual results have been, they have not been that great. But hey, Shane Baz is starting to pitch well over the last 2 weeks. He's the 28th best pitcher in baseball. I will say about Bassett, and I give the guy all the credit in the world. He's 37 years old. He was fantastic in the playoffs for the Toronto Blue Jays last year. He came out of the bullpen. He was a major reason, and they're not going to talk about it, but he was a major reason why they went to the World Series. He was that good, but he wanted to start, and they weren't going to let him start. If he'd stayed in Toronto, he'd been in the starting rotation all season long. But some of these young guys right now, Kobe Mayo, I'm not a huge Kobe Mayo fan, but he's starting to hit well. Hauser's hitting well. Rushman seems to be back before his pre-injury days, and Alonso is been very consistent for them. So, yeah, there's reason to play Baltimore. I understand the Seattle situation with the bullpen. Munoz he hadn't pitched in like 6 days, and they put him in yesterday, and he blew the save and had the loss. It would not surprise me if they put him on the IL or something. Something's going on there. You see that a lot in Major League Baseball. A guy just they don't know that if you take a look at his strikeout and walk ratios, he's elite. And that's really, if I'm going to break down my pitching to one stat, strikeout minus walk percentage. That's it. That's the one that I want. And he's been fantastic. So he's a conundrum in that regard. But they have Matt Brash there, and Matt Brash does walk a few guys, but he and a fair or two guys that can take over the ninth inning. So they're not that bad off here. But Emerson Hancock, they've got him ranked 17th starting pitcher in baseball, 25th the last 14 days. It's tough to go against him. J.P. Crawford's been out the last couple of days. Normally, I wouldn't make that big of a deal of it, but he's having a pretty good hitting year. So they've got, but their team right now is hitting pretty well. Other than Luke Raley, who carried him for a lot of times this season, he's been lousy. But the rest of the other team, they're all hitting like the 160, so 160 and better. So Seattle's hitting pretty well right now. They're a better hitting team when they get out of Seattle. And against this Baltimore team, Baltimore is a team that I came into the season. I said that's a team that's going to be a lot of overs because they can hit and they're not a great pitching team. So I'm somewhat interested in the over. It's sitting at 9. I do see an 8.5 out there, minus 130. I'm not going to play that, but I just saw a pop up of one place at 8.5 over 120. I think that's a pretty good bet. I don't know if they'll get all the way to Hancock, but Baltimore's hitting well right now. They're dangerous as a home dog. I'm not going to have anything on this game, but I can understand that.
Brian, I will finish this off by saying I co-sign your over bet. I'm at 9.3 on the total. And here, Mike, I will give you your reasoning to potentially get to the window with the Orioles. When Emerson Hancock broke out toward the end of the last year, it's because they moved him to the bullpen, and he realized he could throw a lot harder than he was throwing. He came out of the pen. He was throwing 98. Like as a one, in the playoffs, that's how the Mariners used him. They used him as a bullpen guy, a one-inning guy, and his velo increased. Right now, I just kind of checked. He's sitting about 95 this year, which is, if you remember, he did not have success the first couple times around as a starter when the Mariners called him up. He really started to have success after the Mariners moved him to the bullpen, and I felt like he came out throwing about 97 this year, and now it looks like he's sitting about 95. That's a difference, right? Like that's they call high velo is like 95 plus. So if suddenly he's starting to creep back to the 94, 95 range, which is his fastball is really like he throws a lot of fastball sinker. They're kind of like 94, 95. We might see a little Emerson Hancock regression coming up. And that's where, if it comes today, I think you're going to get your over pretty easily. So Brian, I think over is the way to go. I'll sit on that. That's where I'll land on this one. I'm at like 9.3. And if you can get a 9 flat, I think it's a good bet. TB, coming back to you. I just confirmed with Tokyo Brandon that our 5%ers are not in the same game. So we're good to go there. 2 completely different plays. We'd love it for you. If you give us a shot, again, we appreciate it. I mean, again, you look at the last 30 days, Tokyo Brandon's up like 30 something units. I think I'm up like 40 something units. We're on a pretty good run. Just a couple tough beats in some of the 5%ers recently, but that is also probably going to change. Alex Rand says, first of all, thank you for the donation. All the donations go to charity, as we say every day. He says, daily respect to all of you doing the show. Much appreciated. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. TB, start us up. He wants to talk Reds, Padres. This one's out west tonight. We've got Andrew Abbott going for the visitors. It looks like it's going to be Walker Buehler for the home team. So kick us off, Reds, Padres.
Yeah, this is a tale of two teams that can't get their bats going right now. I got San Diego ranked 28 and the Reds ranked 25 in current form. So a lot of people always ask me, what is your current form? I kind of take a combination of last 7, last 10, and last 14, and I weight them separately to different weights. But I also take into consideration injury, weather, stadiums, etc. Abbott's got great numbers against these Padres, 53 at-bats against, 208 average and a 584 OPS. Buehler against the Reds, I'm not going to trust his numbers because he's been in the league. He's older than dirt. And actually, he's only 31 years old. Seems like he's older than dirt, but he's not. He's got decent numbers against these Reds, but he's a guy who I think used to be good and isn't quite as good anymore. It's kind of fading. I thought he was more like 38 years old, but he's only 31. Kind of surprised by that. Anyway, I think the pitching advantage is definitely Cincinnati here. Although I got the pitchers, my numbers have them like neck and neck ranked. Reds bullpen has been absolute garbage. San Diego's bullpen has been highly mediocre. I think a San Diego team total over would probably be the way to go here because Abbott's got good numbers against them and their bats are just stuck in the doldrums. They're ranked really low. That would be the way I would go, whether it be a first 5, probably going to be 1.5. 1.5 in the first 5 is really tough to bet. That's more than half the game, and you got to hope they don't score 2 runs. That's tough. But then a full game is also tough because the Reds bullpen has been absolute garbage. I'd probably go first 5, San Diego Padres team total under.
Brian, the Reds bullpen's also been used a little bit too. So, we talked about a couple injuries that they've had this year. Of course, the Emilio Pagan injury was the big one. That was the one that hurt them the most. I mean, got another injury with Ellie Dela Cruz. He's been out. So yeah, the Reds are a little bit walking wounded, and now they're some of their bullpen arms are used, heading all the way out to the West Coast tonight. But yeah, but I look at my numbers and I still see a little bit of value on them. So I'm having a hard time with this one too. Reds Padres, over to you.
Yeah, I hope everybody were able to get in that Cleveland game at the number I gave out because it's jumped about 15 cents now, 10 to 15 cents. I didn't realize we had that kind of effect on people when we give out a play. But
it's a total basis steam right there. We'll take
total
that.
basis steam. Yes, got to be it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully you got that in earlier because now I'm seeing upwards of, I talked about MGM yesterday up to 135. Don't bet favorites at MGM. Okay. Yeah, this one was a total of 8. And I, too, was looking at the under in this game because Buehler is actually pitching pretty well right now. I haven't used him very often in the past because he's been injury prone or he just hasn't been very good. But he's starting to bring it together. And we've seen in the past that he has the ability. He's been very good for when he was with the Dodgers. Abbott's a guy. Earlier in the season, he struggled a little bit, and we said, finally getting the regression for Abbott. And then now he's come out and pitched really well again. So I think the pitchers have a big advantage here. Obviously, Cincinnati is without their best player, best hitter in Dela Cruz, and a lot of their other guys, the power guys especially, are really slumping. Bringing in the third baseman once again, they thought was going to be a big deal. He's done nothing all season long. And so, yeah, the Cincinnati offense is not hitting well right now. This is a good pitcher's ballpark, and San Diego's got the bullpen. But keep in mind, Miller pitched 2 of the last 3 days. He may see some action, but I don't really think he will. And some of their other guys, one of their other key guys is on the IL. So their bullpen isn't quite what it used to be. But if I'm playing this one, I'm playing the under. There's still some 8s out there now. I'm seeing some 7.5s creeping in about half the places. So obviously 8's not his key number. Your key numbers and totals are basically every odd number. So as long as it doesn't go down to 7, we'll be all right there. So I kind of like the under in this one too. And I'm not that big of a Buehler fan, but I don't want Cincinnati's bats here. Maybe we play Cincinnati team total under, something to that range. So if he likes the team total under for one, I like the team total under for the other, then maybe we just play the whole game under.
Yeah, I'm not even going to add anything here. I had so much conflicting stuff on this game, and I'm going to move it along. So there's 2 questions in the. Yeah, TB, we've talked about it. That's a team I've had a hard time getting right as well. So we're going to go. There's 2 sort of miscellaneous chat questions. I'm just going to one of them's a donation, so I want to group them together here. We'll go through these real quick, and then we'll get back to the games. David Edgington, the first one says, TB, but I'm going to throw my opinion out here too. What are the advantages of releasing a 5% player if the starting lineups haven't been released? Just wondering. My answer to that, very rarely, is am I going to get put off a bet by a major league starting lineup? Meaning, I would say less than 10% of the time is the starting lineup on a given day going to completely put me off of a bet, because I'm just the replacement value of most guys, just on a big league roster on a given day, if a starter's not starting or it's a big time guy, typically it's a platoon situation. Typically the analytics are saying, hey, this is a good spot to start this guy because he has better splits. It's a good time to give this guy a day off. Unless it's Judge, unless it's like you talk about sometimes, Brian, with Yandy Diaz, I truly just trust the manager to put the best 9 out on the field. And I think my number might get worse throughout the day. That's my answer. If either of you guys want to throw something out there, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll throw something out. That's another one of the reasons why I say to get a Fangraphs membership. I think it's like $60, $65, $80 for the season. They give you the last 6 lineups that have been used, and they do righties and lefties. So I could just go down. Let's say I'm looking at, what team am I on right now? Okay, Seattle Mariners. I'm looking at the Seattle Mariners. Let's say they're playing a righty today. Okay, I say, okay, the last few times they played the righty, who played? Well, the last 3 games, they had the same lineup in every single game. Then I look, I read all day long. I know if somebody got hit by a pitch. I know if somebody twisted an ankle, something to that effect. I talked about the J.P. Crawford. So there's a chance J.P. Crawford will not be in the game today, which means that Patrick Wisdom will likely be in playing third base, if that's the situation. So while you don't know the exact, because sometimes a guy will just say, hey, I'm giving them a day off. He's been, he's played 27 days in a row, whatever. Nobody knows that ahead of time. The manager knows that. The players don't even know it half the time until they get to the ballpark and they don't see their name. So if you could get a play in as early as possible, we just saw it with the Cleveland game. You want to try to get it in as early as possible, because if you like that game, chances are the majority of other people are going to like it too.
TB, anything to add there? And then I'll stay on you, because Mike Scott, so you can answer, you can say what you want to say on that, and then kick us off. Mike Scott says, my friend thinks the Braves are the best team in baseball. Do you guys agree? I don't think there's a best team personally. So double question to you. Talk about getting plays in early, and then who do you think is the best team in Major League Baseball right now?
So I kind of agree with you. You say 10%. I say close to 0%. Is it going to sway my opinion? Lineups don't change that much, and even if they do, the backups are just fine. Don't overthink it. Just go with it, is my opinion. So that's my answer on that. Let's talk about the Braves. I think the Braves are definitely viable. I mean, man, their bullpen is playing great. They got good hitters throughout the lineup. Harris and guys like that are really stepping up. And then they got Olsen, reliable guys. And they're, with Strider back, they got a pretty decent pitching staff, but they're still starting Martin Perez. If they can get one more starter back, if they can get 2 more starters back, they're going to be absolutely dominant. But as long as they're still starting Martin Perez, now he's pitching better than I thought he would, but he's not in my opinion, he's like a 5th or 6th spot starter type guy, but he's been pitching actually quite well. Yeah, if they get 2 solid starters back from injury, or if they acquire someone in the trade deadline, they're going to be really tough to stop because they got the lineup, they got the bullpen. They just got a couple holes in their rotation.
Yeah, I don't really like best team. At the end of the day, it's probably going to be the Dodgers when it's all said and done. Could the Braves finish with the best record? Yes, I also like the Brewers, but that's just a market that I have no interest in getting involved in at this point. I'm really more or less looking at like teams that can make a playoffs or a good number on a futures bet. I don't really care who the best team is during the regular season. Brian, go ahead.
I don't care who the best team is now. I want to bet on who the best team at the end of the year is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And Atlanta and the Dodgers are the 2 best teams in baseball, the 2 best organizations. Hurston Waldrep is just started pitching. He had his first game in the minors, and Spencer Schwellenbach is right on his tail. So, yeah, they're getting these guys back, and these are guys that were huge for them. And getting into your huge selection, but they're going to be the 2 best teams at the end of the season. If you see value on them now, bet them now.
Yeah, Drake Baldwin will be back soon. The Braves, it's hard to poke holes in what they've done to this point, and then you get guys like that back. Absolutely. Good. Yeah. Go ahead, TV.
The NLCS should be Atlanta Dodgers, and what a series that would be, wouldn't it?
Unless the Brewers or someone else that is probably what the NLCS is going to be this year. I'd be
serious though. That's must see TV. My goodness.
Speaking in Tommy Turnbuckle,
the NHL championship.
Yeah.
So.
Tommy Turnbuckle says the problem with the Brewers in the postseason is they don't hit home runs. They lack some pop. They lack some power. I don't know that I agree with small ball won't win the World Series because we've seen it done. We saw the Royals do it in 2015, but it's a good segue into this game. Bryan Leonard will be at this game tonight. We have baseball. We have Major League Baseball out in Las Vegas. So if you haven't been following along, the A's are going to play some home games this year in Vegas, not in the ballpark they're building. Obviously, it's not built yet, but they will be playing in Las Vegas ballpark where the Las Vegas Aviators, their AAA team, call home. Bryan Leonard, I'll let you kick this one off. You're a regular at this ballpark, and you'll be there tonight for Brewers A's. Kyle Harrison, Jeffrey Springs, and sometimes they have fireworks after the game, Brian. This might be fireworks all game long tonight.
Yeah. I live in Summerlin, beautiful area, and it's a nice little ballpark. It's right around the corner from the Red Rock Casino, if anybody's out there, and where the Golden Knights have their practice facility. So it's a nice little area to be in, very popular. And Trigg will tell you because he handicaps AAA baseball, if you think the Sacramento ballpark is a launching pad, watch these games in this next 2 series with the Brewers and the Colorado Rockies. Total in this game is 11. They're expecting 44% more home runs hit in this game than a normal Major League Baseball game. The ball travels here. Vegas is in a bowl. And if you're on the strip, you're in the middle of the bowl. It goes up towards the mountains the rest of the way. And if you go out to, I believe it's the Spring Mountains, that's where Summerlin is. And so the altitude is higher. And it's summer in Las Vegas. We hit 105 degrees either yesterday or 2 days ago, 105 degrees. It's going to be hot. The only problem is you've got Kyle Harrison on the mound, who's been unhittable lately. Now, can Atlanta the A's stick the bat out and possibly get a wind-blown, because it is supposed to blow out today also, get a wind-blown home run? Yeah, that's your concern when you're playing an under in this ballpark. Harrison's been great. Springs has been pretty good. A couple of lefties going. I'm excited to see the series, but I'm excited to see what Harrison can do in this ballpark right here, because he pitched at San Francisco, pitched in Milwaukee. San Francisco is a good pitcher's ballpark. I believe he just went to Colorado the other day and pitched very well, so maybe it won't make a difference. But keep that in mind during the next week. For the next 6 out of the 7 days, they'll be playing in Summerlin. Ball flies out here, so there'll be a lot of runs. If Harrison gets hit here, you can pretty confidently bet the overs as soon as the line comes out. You probably have a good scalp at worst if you're looking to make some money.
TB, over to you. Brewers coming off of their series in Colorado, so that's something Brian brings up at times. Coming out of the altitude, I did see that. Basically, I think I saw any pitcher set for this series flew directly to Vegas. They did the LA Dodgers hack where they don't even send the starting pitchers to the altitude; they just send them to Vegas. Like, that's something I guess the Dodgers have done over the years. So again, Brewers, A's. I'm with Brian. I think there's going to be a million runs. How are you seeing this one?
Yeah, just remember that both pitchers are going to be pitching in the same condition. So the better pitcher is still going to be better, and the better pitcher is Harrison. So, I mean, how can you argue with a 7-1 record and a sub-2 ERA? He's been amazing. Must be some kind of pitching coach that's turning him around, taught him a new pitch or something. I don't know exactly the details, but usually when a guy gets all of a sudden Cy Young worthy like that, it means he probably in the offseason added a new pitch, got a new pitching coach, worked something out in his head. It's not just how you throw your pitches, it's how you use your pitches as well. So he's probably getting coached better, and man, he's pitching well. And he's throwing the right pitches in the right situation, which is half of pitching, not just having good stuff. So can't argue with that. The bullpen for Milwaukee is slightly better, and their hitting is a lot better. I got Milwaukee ranked 10, and I got the A's ranked 21. But so you could pump those hitting stats up quite a bit because of what Brian said about this ballpark. But Milwaukee Brewers on the money line, I think it's about minus 175 or 180. That's going to be my parlay leg.
Yeah, I think it's both of these guys are fly ball pitchers. I don't know that either pitcher really has a huge, like Kyle Harrison, if you want to, I guess the edge would be the fact that he spent over a season with Sacramento. So he's probably pitched here a lot more. Of course, the PCL 10-team league, he's probably pitched in this ballpark plenty. I doubt Jeffrey Springs. Maybe he's had a rehab start here at some point, but more than likely hasn't pitched much in this ballpark. So that could be an advantage. But yeah, you have two kind of like extreme fly ball pitchers here in a park that is not going to hold many fly balls. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting game for sure. Brian, what do we have for a money line on this game for the Brewers right now?
I don't know where you're getting the 178. It's about 157 pretty much everywhere. I'm seeing as low as 153.
Yep. I see minus 155s most places, so we can call it that.
168. Okay.
What are you getting the 168 at? Just
it may have opened. Yeah, ESPN's not a real.
Yeah,
I know. Like, I don't know what.
I know. I didn't. I was too lazy to go open up the real sites. I just checked on the ESPN scores.
Nobody you know can play there. They're not a real sports book.
I don't even know if that's a book. Like, what is that even? Like, what book are they referencing? Fanatics?
I don't know.
I don't even.
Didn't they lose it or something? I don't know.
Well, I think I think the ESPN bet thing became Fanatics, but I got to be honest, that's not. I don't think I've ever placed a bet.
Fanatics is right now 165. So, but that's by far the highest.
Yeah, there's I think DraftKings went to 163 here, so maybe you are seeing some Brewers money, but my screen here mostly minus 155, minus 157, I think is where that game is, and we'll double check before the end of the show before we talk about the parlay locking it in, but again, it's not going to make a huge difference to the parlay odds, so yeah, Brewers money line for TB right there. We got two more games to talk about. I'm not sure what I want to do with the parlay yet. I will say Tommy Turnbuckle says 2015 Royals is the only time we saw small ball win the World Series. That's false. We see the 2019 Nats played a great deal with small ball. They won the World Series. The Giants basically won 3 World Series in 6 years with small ball and pitching. So I have to he's saying that's the only time. Like, no, like there's been plenty of examples of teams that aren't like just home run hitting teams win the World Series. Yeah. Had to push back a little bit right there.
Did
the Rays got to a World Series? They got to a World Series in 2020 playing like that. So yeah,
small ball as well.
All right, Andy Lang says we got Andy Lang in here. We got to get his game. First of all, shout out to Andy for watching the show. hardest working guy at WagerTalk. He's going to watch this show. He's going to then have to go prepare for like 3 different people talking 3 different sports. And he always sort of knows what everyone is talking about. Much tougher hosting job than I have, which we just come here and talk about the sport we all know the best. So shout out to Andy. Make sure you're watching him on.
Sorry, he handicaps darts as well.
Yes. Very good.
Hey, listen,
Sorry,
beatable like darts. I'm sure he has a huge edge in that market. That is ultimately how you make money doing this. I'm going to always probably win more of my units playing like KBO and minor league baseball because there's simply a bigger edge than main market anything. So shout out to Andy. You should be watching him on WagerTalk today, every day at noon Eastern, right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. We're going to hit his game. He says Astros first 5 innings, money line. Rodriguez is awful for the Angels. Bryan Leonard, of course, he's talking about Grayson Rodriguez, who I kind of thought was going to be fine when he got back to the big leagues. I referenced the fact that he was throwing 97 in his rehab starts, but Andy's not wrong. He has gotten roughed up a couple of times here. Most recently at home against the Rockies, who blasted him for 7 runs in 3 2/3. You guys know I like Arrighetti, and I know TV is going to weigh in on Arrighetti here. But I will start with you, Brian. Astros first 5 innings is what Andy liked. Do you agree or disagree?
You also have an Angels team that just blew out the Dodgers. Of course, I think it was the only game they won, but that was a surprise. Yeah, we've got line on this one is Houston 125 with a total of 9. Arrighetti kind of surprised me. Last time out, I thought he may have some regression. It was slight, but he still pitched very well. Rodriguez, somebody likes him. That's what he was the main cog to get back in the trade. So I just want to see it before I believe it. And Houston right now, their bats are starting to pick up. They're getting some guys back. So yeah, it's either Houston or nothing for me. He did say first 5, right? He's looking at the first 5. Let me just check that line. Well, yeah, you're basically playing maybe a nickel more to get him in the first 5. So, but then again, you don't get to go against the Angels bullpen. So, yeah, either way, it's either Houston or nothing for me.
Yeah, Houston for nothing, me as well here, Tokyo Brandon. I've been pretty high on Spencer Arrighetti, and I too have pumped the brakes a little bit on Grayson Rodriguez since he got back to the big leagues. Again, I was really going off of the fact that he was throwing hard in rehab, but now we've got a sample at the big league level. Just doesn't look right. I still think he's, when he was coming up through the Orioles organization, electric. But hey, guys have a big injury and they don't always come back the same. So I'm kind of out on him for the time being, but I really have liked Arrighetti. I still think he's better than the market suggests. So how do you see this one? Angels, Astros, Arrighetti, Rodriguez.
So you guys can grab a double play, 2 of us 3 for 3 days. Huge discount. I recommend you go get it because we're the 3 of the best baseball cappers on the planet. Just pick 2 of us and you get a huge discount for 3 days. Arrighetti was a chronic walker. By the way, I have a 5% play in MLB out today. He was a chronic walker last season, and he seems to have gotten it down a little bit. He's got a great record, great ERA. He's a guy I never wanted to back before, but he's basically got the same record and same ERA as Kyle Harrison. But I trust Kyle Harrison a lot more. If you take a look at my Twitter X, Tokyo_Brandon, I put out my Walker starters today, and Arrighetti is number 1, 3 walks per start this season, and Grayson Rodriguez number 2, 2.75 walks per start. So they are walking people. So it makes me tend to believe that Arrighetti's been a little bit lucky. I don't think he's going to regress back to like a 4+ ERA, but I don't think he's going to keep pitching like this. Regarding first 5, the only time I would bet a first 5 is if the other team has a significantly better bullpen than you. And in this case, they do not. The Angels bullpen is ranked 27 in current form, where the Astros bullpen is ranked 7. So unless the Astros bullpen is extremely taxed, tired, and used up in the last 2 days, I don't see the logic in betting first 5 here. Full game is how I would go if you like the Astros, but the Angels have been cranking the ball really good lately. So be careful.
TB, I very much agree with that. I think the play here would be Astros full game. Their bullpen, they just got Hader back. Their bullpen is healthier. The Angels bullpen is atrocious. Mark, I agree with this, okay? Arrigetti's going to have some regression in his future. I just don't know if it's going to be against the Angels. I still think this is, I know they had their breakout yesterday. I still think this is one of the worst lineups in Major League Baseball. And, the Angels just got up for a series with the Dodgers all weekend. So like this does sort of profile as a little bit of a letdown spot for the Angels. So I like the Astros here. I'll go with that for the parlay. This is what you made a good point, TB. Pretty nice bullpen edge here for the Astros. They didn't really use any relievers yesterday, and they did just get healthier in the bullpen. So I like that angle of the Angels. They just roughed up the Dodgers. They really sort of that was a big series for them, couple close games. Now they've got to turn around and take on the Astros, who I just think are getting better right now. I've talked about it a little bit last week. They're just getting a little bit better, and that's going to be my parlay leg for the show.
Not to mention the Angels bullpen is complete ass mustard.
Yeah, they're just not good. It's a bad baseball team. Brian's talked about it plenty this year. We thought that they were going to be a bad team. Brian thought they were going to be the worst team in the league this year. I still think they could be that. So, anytime that you can find a good spot and a good price to fade this Angels team, I don't think is a terrible idea. I will disclose the other game I thought about using for the parlay. It's the last game we'll talk about here. I don't think there's a hockey show today. Is there? Is there a show after us?
I don't have one. I don't know if they do or not.
Well, we're going a little long today, but we'll go through this game quickly. Final game we're going to talk about. Phillies, Blue Jays. I thought long and hard about taking the Jays plus 1.5 here. Brian, I'll go to you. I had a nice winner with the Blue Jays last week in a similar spot. The books thought that they were going to do nothing against Chris Sale. They hung a Blue Jays plus 1.5, plus 105 in that game, and the Blue Jays ended up winning that game. Here they face Christopher Sanchez. I just think that, you're really going to give the Jays a full run to work with at, minus 110 on their home field. This is still a Jays lineup that I think can handle good pitching. So here, I think that that's quite an inflated number. I know Christopher Sanchez has been great, but give me the Blue Jays plus 1.5 here. That's a free run, in my opinion, just to work within this game.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree. I did just win my first bet of the day that ass mustard will be set on the show. It's a big underdog.
On the bingo card.
Yeah, got him on the bingo card. Sanchez has been hot as hell. Toronto hasn't hit lefties this year. And Patrick Corbin on the mound. Now, I like Patrick Corbin, but if you're betting teams that have Patrick Corbin on the mound, you have not had a lot of success in the past. Now, we're looking at the future, so we'll see. Maybe he turns around. And he's having a pretty decent season, but they could very well not score against Sanchez here, and it would not surprise me.
TB, that's my guy, Patrick Corbin, Clay, New York native here, Central New York. And he's up against Christopher Sanchez, who's been one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball this year. How are you seeing Phillies Braves up in Toronto tonight? Yeah,
we're not allowed to blaspheme Patrick Corbin when Adam is on the show because they're from the same neighborhood, apparently. So
Central New York does not put guys in the big leagues very often, so we gotta show some respect. Yeah,
and credit to Adam because you were singing his praises last year when he was getting hammered, and this year he's actually turned it around. So
he had a pretty good start to last year too. I thought he had a great season with the Rangers. So yeah,
you saw it pretty early. I give you much credit for that. You're not just a local homer. So regarding this one, yes, the Blue Jays are at home. Good home record, but the Phillies have a pretty good away record. The Phillies bats kind of worry me. I got them ranked 28 out of 30, but they picked it up yesterday. I think they scored 9, yesterday, if my memory is correct. Their bats are picking it up. Christopher Sanchez, out of 250 MLB pitchers, I have him ranked number 1. Better than Skubal, better than Skeens in current form. So I kind of agree with Brian. It's going to be tough for the Jays to put runs up here. But then the Phillies bats have been quite flaccid lately as well. So maybe an under in this one. I do like an under in the first 5 for sure. depending on what the number is, even if it's 3.5, I think an under would be the play here.
Here's my issue with the Phillies being this big of a road favorite. This lineup, I've said this a bunch of times this year. I don't like this lineup outside of the big three of Schwarber, Turner, Harper. And so if you're judging them on that, well, it's like, well, now you're going to have a lefty, right? Like, I don't think they set up great against left-handed pitching because, of course, two of those big three, Schwarber and Harper, are left-handed hitters. So it's like, now Schwarber hits lefties just fine, but I'm just saying, like, I just don't think it's the optimal sort of lineup. Now, you could say, well, Trig, these guys know Patrick Corbin like the back of their hand, right? He was on the Nationals all those years. They've had a ton of history against him. Yeah, that's a pretty good point, right? Like, that's, I think, would be the way to sort of, the Phillies probably have a great handicap of Corbin, seeing him all those years in the same division. But, like, again, I just think if he can match Sanchez, and I don't buy that the Jays are not going to do anything off Sanchez. I said this the other day when I played them against Sale. They got a couple off of Chris Sale. And if you can hit Chris Sale, you can hit Christopher Sanchez right now. I don't think Christopher Sanchez didn't just like become God here. Someone's going to hit him at some point. I know he's been on a great run. Someone will hit him at some point. You get 2 or 3 runs out of the Jays here. This is going to be a close game. I still like the Jays plus 1.5, but I did not put it in the parlay. I'm still considering it. I'm definitely thinking about it for a play, but I'm gonna just pump the brakes on that one for a minute just now, which means our 3-teamer today. Brian, give me the updated odds so we can get a price here. We're going 3 full game sides: Guardians, Astros, Brewers. What am I looking at current money lines for these games?
Okay, Guardians are starting to go back down a little bit, but they're still 127. You can get 119, but we'll go 127. Houston Astros 126. And what was the other one? Milwaukee, right?
Yep.
It's up to about 144.
154?
144.
Okay,
Wow.
so that did dip a little bit. Okay,
It's
so
down to 140 couple sharp books.
Interesting.
All right. So that's a pretty straightforward 3-teamer here for the show. Went a little bit longer today, but you know what? We don't see you guys on Sunday, so we took it a little bit longer today. Tokyo Brandon and I both have 5% plays. I'd urge you to look more at the fact that, like, all 3 of us are on a pretty solid run. I don't think you can go wrong picking any of the 3 on your screen. I believe we also have a 3-day special, or a special where you get like 6 days for the cost of 3 for whoever, handicapper of your choice. So take a look at those. All I'll tell you is I love the play I have tonight. I'm up 45 units the past 30 days. I feel pretty good about it. And I feel good about our parlay tonight because, we've gotten this back in the plus. Even with a couple losses, we are still slightly ahead on the daily parlay on this show. And it's already June. We've done this for over 2 months, and we're just hanging around. What that means, guys, couple big weeks, and we're going to be way in the plus on these. So hopefully we get it going today with Brian. He's going Guardians minus 127. I'm going to go Astros minus 126. Tokyo Brandon is going Brewers minus 144. That is your 3-team parlay for today. That is your show. And the 3 of us will be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, for more Total Bases. We'll see you guys then.